morning vibes, and we are coming to you this morning from Ramon's Village Resort, San Pedro, Belize, where we have stationed ourselves for the week as we celebrate health, wealth, and pleasure. Our reef is a treasure, and that is the theme for this year. And for those who are real WB people, they know that annually, every year, annually we do this, where we take this and visit primarily up to this point coastal communities, and we have a week of conversations around our great marine wealth and possession, primarily our coral reef system that lies off coast for most of our coastline, and that is the reality. That this is of immense value to us, and so a couple days every year we believe is extremely justified for us to give it a little bit of attention, a little bit of love, and that's what we try to do. I'm outside, and of course, while we do have the whole Reef Week thing going on, and we give respect, we don't change the formula, which still relies on your participation. Now, we're not in studios, which means that we don't have all the comforts of home. We might have some intermittent drops because we have to be working through the internet, and we don't have our regular lines for you to call in. We have improvised a little bit where we have a mobile number which gives you access. Try one little thing. And so for those who want to jump in early, we invite you to utilize the number of 672-4770. So if you would like to join in, say good morning and express some concern or weigh in, you can do that. You should do it. We want you to do it. Later on in the show, of course, we're going to have guests that will make their way all the way out here to our temporary studio here at Ramon's Village Resort, who is our exclusive partner for Reef Week 2023. But they are not the only partners that we have. Clem, good morning.
Good morning. I'm calling in for WV.
Yes, you are live, Sister Yaya. Good morning.
Morning, Moz. Morning, Belize. Welcome back, Moz. Two things. Last week, Wednesday, I was so involved, I forgot to do my report back on educating primarily our cabinet ministers that August 1st, 2023, which is a Tuesday, is a historical day for African people, African descendants globally in the English-speaking Caribbean. And so this is an advocacy to teach them about our African ancestors and to encourage them that not late, but they go and change their public and bank holiday to Tuesday, the 1st of August 2023, and not Monday, July 31st, 2023. The Slavery Abolition Act was on August 1st, 1833, enforced in 1834. The legal, physical enslavement of our people ended August 1st, 1838, which is why UEF, that a community-based organization, in 2014, started to advocate for African Emancipation Day, which eventually led to Republican Bank holiday last year. So 185 years ago, August 1st, is when the legal enslavement of our African ancestors ended. So they advocate again for that and talk about the barrier reef mode. Another say up on the screen.
What has been happening is that we are having some drops in the internet beyond our control, and so we do have these these breaks, unfortunately.
Okay, I know they say about that area. Okay, well, I just have to make sure that yes, and so
I'm not sure that we are on. Are we on? We're on. So go ahead. All right.
Okay. In alignment with that, Private TV, let it be known, has been the premier media house who has been collaborating with some environmental NGOs when it comes to Reef Week 12 years ago. So what I don't remember, because I don't really pay attention like I pay attention now, United Black Association for Development Educational Foundation. We're celebrating our 27th year on Friday, March 10th. That organization was created by elders and other Belizean people on March 10th, 1996. And since 2020, UEF has been advocating and being active when it comes to environmental matters and Belizean people. And because our organization focuses primarily on African people or Black people in Belize, I'm definitely going to pay attention to Reef Week like I pay attention now. So I'd ask you, Mose, we have created a hashtag for Facebook, hashtag Belizeans that the environment. Belizeans that the environment. Because often when you hear about the environment, the flora and fauna, the focus is on the people. And even with the barrier reef, which ought to be a part of Belizean identity, not just for, for tourists or for writing articles for the newspaper. I don't think most Belizean people feel that the barrier reef is a part of their identity, because most of them don't even know what identity. And so we think that your nationality is your sole identity. So now that barrier reef had a lot to do with our enslavers of our African ancestors, the British, protection or defense against the other enslavers, the Spaniards. So when we talk about barrier reef, we don't connect it with the lived experience of, for example, African ancestors or indigenous ancestors or European enslavers using their reef as defense against the Spanish enslavers. We don't make the reef come alive. When we talk about the communities of we live along the coastline, we oftentimes not hear them people voice or see them people feel. We see people in the environmental NGO, but we don't. They're not the story we need to hear from them people. But what are your advice, Mose? You in a hosting Reef Week, have you heard or experienced people being centered in those stories?
Always. I think that one of the things that we pride ourselves on is the fact that at least half of our conversation in previous episodes of our coverage involves community representation that does not involve any, you would say, conservation organizations for that matter. They are a part of the conversation, but there's always an emphasis on the community, and we've been doing that from the time we started. I don't even like the term barrier reef exactly. It's often term used. It's really to it really undervalues what is there. Yes, a component of the reef system that is a part of our national. I don't. It's not a. We have custody and responsibility, but I don't view the reef system as being something that you can say, well, you own. It's something that we are blessed to have the responsibility for, and we all have that responsibility because of what it provides, whether we know it or we don't. And it is a living system, and it's a living system of immense value that provides great benefits on a daily basis. I consider the history of what it has provided to go beyond the element of the whole aspect of territorial protection or the Battle of St. George's Key and all the narrative around that. But you are absolutely right, and I am very confident that we have been very intentional when it comes to looking at the everyday stakeholders and participants in the value that the reef represents. And I do not know that I share your opinion that I think one of the, even unfortunately, there has not been a consistent, or even sometimes even forget consistent, I mean, I don't even feel like there has been enough intentional attempts to ensure that as many Belizeans as possible are given an opportunity to have intimate experience with it. And one of the things I used to always say when we started out this whole Reef Week journey was that I am one of those privileged, fortunate persons that in my childhood I had the opportunity to enjoy the marine wealth that we have and experience the reef. I don't feel that it should have been some kind of exclusive experience for privileged or the fortunate, but that's what the reality is. And so it's important for us to work on that and to be committed on that. But I do know that there is a significant awareness and a significant consciousness that the reef is a part of us. And I believe that that was resoundingly proven when you had the whole mock referendum in 2012, where the number of people who came out, and again, the number of grassroots people who came out, and even though they have not been provided with the privilege of experiencing the reef, have a wired sense of the value and the connection to it, and I believe that is why the results were so resoundingly negative to the whole offshore drilling aspect. So I don't know that you don't have a sense of pride, a national sense of pride amongst a great number of people when it comes to what the reef represents. And despite the fact that a good number of people have not had the privilege of experiencing it close up on any consistent basis.
I appreciate this line of reasoning, Moors. For people who live maybe in a coastal communities or live the key.
Do you know where the first Reef Week WB was held?
I hope it's a Gales Point, man. But no, I don't know.
Right at Belize City. And the point of it being that one of the overlooked aspects is the fact of how close Belize City is to the reef. And you know, it was part of the reason why I felt that you know, we often think of San Pedro, which is the first time we have come to San Pedro for Reef Week celebration. Often we think of the reef and we think about San Pedro, we think about Kikaka, we think about Placencia, we think about Hopkins, which are, you know, for obvious reasons. But you really go and you check it out, and I think it's a part of what you have explored and a part of what you have been creating awareness when it comes to the whole proposed cruise ports, is the fact that Belize City sits right there on the reef, and that was kind of hammered home to me when I had an opportunity to go to a coral reef symposium in Australia, and it was held in what is considered to be the city closest to Australia's Great Barrier Reef, which was a place I think called Cairn, and so they took us out on a field trip to see the Great Barrier Reef, and it took almost an hour and a half for us to reach. And I am like, well, if this city has all its fame based on the fact that it's considered to be adjacent to the Great Barrier Reef, then Belize City's consciousness should be that the fact that it is the reef city, and that we don't have that. There was not this consciousness that that's who we are. We are a reef city, and whether we like it or not, And I think just the whole journey of awareness when it comes to the cruise ports and the impact on reef and everything that we have been engaged with over the past 18 months, 24 months, thereabouts, I think brings home that point that, it's not, the reef is not, the way the reef flows, it really is a next door neighbor to everybody that lives on the coast, and Belize City is that reef city.
Most, this is why I enjoy reasoning, especially with people who know different than me or more than me. Because in truth, the other person will bring that to my attention, I mean, George, my we talk about fishers. And I didn't name like fishing communities, and I know said Belize City, and he said like we do that often. We not think of Belize City as a fishing community. And again, I know to think, well, I don't know how close Belize City is to the Barrier Reef. I mean, other fan city and most of the people, we just say the same thing over and over. We got the second largest Barrier Reef in the world, but we don't really know about the reef, much less go and see. A lot of people from inner city Belize never gone a key yet, like you said, or gone to the reef yet. So that's one big point you make, and that's why I value conversations like these, where yes, you go have like, I don't want to love Belize City. How close we get to the reef? I said most of we doing. So I don't want to say 1 year long advocacy engagement where to teach people about the reef. Respect you, you have 1 week or 4 days really, because I usually have to holiday at a year where the focus is on the reef. I don't want to more intentional reasoning with people about why they should kill, like right now, in much restaurant that they call for like 1 month, no fish. I'm like, they're not even Easter yet. Why fish the hard again? I don't understand why people. Yeah, like I did a Ladyville. For example, on one of a restaurant, roadside diner. The weeks the sister don't get fish. I don't know why. Why a couple other restaurants I call, I don't know where they go on with the fish. So it's really important for Belizean people to understand like why the reef. And of course, when we had the east side in November, we see how important the reef was to protection. But for I really would have want more of that most that kind of human connection to everyday life. So we could make better choices as well, as because we have the power to make better choices. Being engaged when you're hearing a proposed development, make sure you're listening to the story. When there's a public consultation, you come out. The people that will live nearest to that proposed development, because it's another dead issue, Belizean people. Like, this is a very much alive, that's one of the things that you have advocated for people. That are the environmental NGO interests, and all the people, their interest or wherever for their funders to send money for. You have to advocate for Black people nearest to the port of Belize with a proposed development. Yes, they said no to environmental clearance. It's now in the appeals process. Then just pick 3 people on the tribunal, and all the people in the European people, as if no Belizean people that were intelligent for the on that tribunal. The UEF has to think that the fight not done, the struggle not done. And even though we are not a membership organization, when UEF make a win, all Belizean benefit, especially Black people, as August 1st is African Emancipation Day. So only the people want to save the people. Belizean people not sleep on port. And I have to say that people that will have interest, like immediate impact, like the stevedores, like Belize Federation of Fishers, the people who live nearest to that port, will not do it all. This battle not done. So I really, and all these things are interrelated. So I left this conversation with a wisdom file. Was how close Belize, because I really don't, you don't know at a distance. I really don't know. When we look at I always said our water most. When we stand up the seaside, I always said water. You know how far the Belize Barrier Reef and the Belize Barrier Reef. So it's a part of a bigger reef system, but the Belize Barrier Reef. How far are we there from Belize City line?
So let me put it this way. As you know, St. George's Keaton, which, well, I know a lot of grassroots people go to St. George's Key, not way they go to Key Carker, right?
Yes.
And Key Carker is generally like 40 minutes away. But St. George's Key is really, if you're in a good enough boat, you're looking at about 15 minutes or so, right? 15 to 20 minutes. And a good number of us maybe don't go to St. George's Key, but a good number of us have been to Golf Ski. Golf Ski sits right on the reef. But so you have the main reef system that you would say, okay, that is like when they have these aerial photographs, and you will see this line of the white cresting wave tops caused by the reef, and that is the visual line that you would see from aerial photographs. That's the main reef system. But you have inside of that, which would not be a part of that, but you have inside of that a lot of reef patches that come pretty close, right almost to our harbor. And you know that because people are able to catch reef fishes right off the shore of Belize City. So people have caught barracudas, people catch jack, people catch multiple species without even leaving the shore, without even leaving land. That's to have you don't have fishes, you don't have that kind of existence unless you have an entire ecosystem that is supporting it. And that's what I mean by us really being a reef city. The fact that from the standpoint of where the reef is, like for example, when some of those fishers leave from outer Yaba, for example, then drift right off, and in a very short period of time, they are able to be on top of reef patches. That's what we have, and that is the sensitive area. It is the area that has been most impacted by the choices that we have made on shore that we don't talk about. The runoffs from shore, the fact that we have the sewage management plant right there adjacent to the port, where that is that is a matter that we don't talk about. The fact that there is need for us to have a conversation about how that is going to be dealt with going forward, and the impact that it has. When they do the water quality assessment, and you look offshore of Belize City and you look at some of the you would say the compounds that they are finding in the water. That's again another consequential conversation, because that is a part of what we eat when we eat fish. You know, these are the things that are going to impact us. Like those are the realities of a reef city, I feel. And so the point that you have raised is on target, extremely relevant, and I appreciate the fact that you have brought it up. And it also gives me the opportunity to thank you. I've thanked you publicly, but not in person, for really holding the fort and having my back while I was out. Great job, and a big thank you.
Well, I mean, I'm an element. The people like fuel it. I'm in the egg for true. I really enjoy it. But Mose, I tell you, man, you don't know how I just so happy right now that this conversation stretch. One of the plus for we having you right now with this conversation is you're into science, you're coming from both people, so you know the waters in a way where maybe another host would have never. And I mean, like, you really know the waters. Mose, I nobody. And I sure I could talk for a lot of Belizeans want to listen right now. I never hear nobody explain the reef like how you explain it. Like, no, the reef makes sense to me. No, I understand why people set up the Belcan Bridge, the swing bridge. No, I understand because of how close that are the big reef, that the reef patches of the reef, what part the reef really are like home for fish bloom and go on bad and everything else. But no, I never understand that. No, it's so simple that is, but how profound that is. When you reason with people on a level where they could connect the everyday man.
Well, you know, make a connect some dots for you then, because like I think you'll give me the opportunity for it's like after a while, I think I said the same thing, you stop saying it. Like when we first started to do Reef Week, I used to have one whole, I guess, almost like one disclaimer to make listeners and viewers know that we're not to do it because, say, we want to conquer those sun and sea, right? Like they're not really like we kind of make people understand why we do it, why we broke from a regular flow, because we want to be disruptive in the whole to make people know, okay, we really feel this. And so we not just want in the studio and the talk, but we want debut. And so every time we do Reef coverage, we had this whole preamble, we had this whole disclaimer to start, right? And I want to draw some dotted lines because, you know, either one of the founding members of Reef Week then, right? And one of the reasons is that, you know, one of the leading voices in the value of with marine well, actually the chairman and the founder of Cremandala, right? And so people know that Evanek side that seaman because he make you know he now a seaman in all years in a from the publisher. He make you know that he the captain boat for he 14. He make you know that he come up to spend weeks at Spanish Key, which is about 10 miles southeast of Belize City, where the island where the family used to go on a lot, especially during the holidays. His generation gone far more than my generation. For his generation, more seafaring, more skilled on the sea than we are lightweight compared to they may deal with sailboat, they know the sea like that. I know enough for their level. So but one of the things where he has written about, but also growing up in our conversations with him, when he gets sent abroad, and you say the whole opportunity for the states the front of him, and he acquire the man degree and whatnot, he has often said and he has often written that nothing there could have tempted him because he know where they are, and he know that it's sea, and he know that nothing in the world could have kept him long from that. And so essentially we could look to the very existence of what we got and the choices that have led to us having Creme and Mandela and everything that has followed that journey. Some of it can actually be linked to the fact that somebody encounter the sea and being able to fish and go off at the edge and catch 1, 2 snapper and fry that up within 1 hour without even touch ice, and know how delicious one fish delicious when not going up on ice whenever I get frozen, and just know that is just an incredible experience to have had, and kind of where I say anchor down somebody, anchor in love for where they come from. So it got deeper than just me or for we current generation. Like an argument can be made that the marine experience of the founder of Cremandala had one huge bearing on ultimately choices that he made as an individual, which have contributed to the very existence of the Mandala project. You understand what it says, sister?
Actually, yes.
So when we start out this whole Reef Week thing, we used to do a lot of this, but now we sick of say it over and over and we just kind of move on, right? But trust me, Reef Week not there to make we the sea up and, you know, the Ramon village. No, it's nice, you know. Harland enjoy itself, per cliff, eat snapper last night. I never get none. But it go beyond that for we. That this duty where we have, and actually for one time, you know, we may actually coordinate with some of our partners. We may actually try get one lot of youths for come out of the neighborhoods wrong with go and experience what they go on out there, and we were able to get some youths out to Half Monkey. We were able to get some youths out to Sapadilla Range, because this is where we feel very strongly that we cannot just sit back and think that I remember this profoundly, sister, that one trip we took, one of the youths, they said when we were halfway to Half Moon Key, that they never know that the water no brown because of the flowing of the Halova Creek. Very often the water very close to Belize City always brown because of the sedimentation. So when the city, this turquoise, aqua, blue, beautiful experience, when you get out of that, it was amazing to them. And I feel every child should feel that and experience that. And we have to do better to make sure that that are not experience only for the rich or for those who get lucky. That we have to make sure not only just children out of Belize City, but children out of the rural areas as well. They have to know that even if you live in the river valley, you're still not that far from the reef. And we have to continue to do the job. Thank you for reaching and triggering this conversation in this direction, and I hope that people get a sense if they never realize that, well, and I guess that's one of the reasons why San Pedro is never one of the first places we come, because San Pedro is so quintessentially associated with the reef, and we never want to be one cliche like that. But eventually we had to come, and so it took over a decade to come to San Pedro. But we had to come because San Pedro is San Pedro, and pay respect to it for what it represents. But thank you for the call, Sister Yaya.
Respect for the reason.
Yeah, man. It's 7:27, and that leads us to our first break. I've not even had opportunity to give respect to our sponsors, but all these sponsors include Angler's Seafood Restaurant, Atlantic Bank Limited, Belize Marketing and Development Corporation, Bell Trade, Central TV and Internet, CG United, the Feinstein Group of Companies, Port Coral, Fine Catch, Blackbird Key Resort, Freedom Drugstore, Hull Chan Marine Reserve, Home Protector Insurance, Human Dignity Trust, Pact Belize, Prescription Value Pharmacy, Quick Home Real Estate, Ramon's Village Resort, San Pedro Belize Express, Sol Belize, Tassa Belize, Wildlife Conservation Society, and the World Wildlife Fund. Those are our sponsors. We want to thank them very much. We take our first break. When we come back, we should be having guests coming into our temporary studio by the sea here at Ramon's Village Resort.